Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be going over how I set up my yearly spending expense tracker. This is the one by the Budget by Paycheck workbook. This one's actually the one that was part of the box set, or that is part of the box set. The content that is in this booklet is also in the full-size version as well, but I do like that it's in a separate booklet. I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I filled it out, set it up, how I plan on using it. And I think it's really cool to be able to track your yearly savings, income, and expenses. I still have to do my yearly one from 2020. It's going to be my first full year of really tracking all of our spending, expenses, and savings. So I'm going to be doing a video on that one as well. So the first section here is the financial plan and the goal worksheet. So the goals that I have on here are the ones that specifically have amounts on them, and to be completely honest, when I was filling this out, I only really had my short-term goals in mind. I wasn't really thinking too far ahead as far as like medium-term goals, which is about 5 years from now, and then long-term goals 10 to 15 years. So when I got down to this section, I feel like I was kind of winging it, daydreaming, or dreaming big, I guess. So for my short-term goals, I believe I went over this in my financial goals video. Our goal this year is to be debt-free, and if everything goes according to plan, will be done by July. And I also want to increase our emergency fund as well. It's currently at $5,000 right now. And as soon as we're done paying off my student loan, the goal is to transition over to just funding the emergency fund, like putting all the money that we were putting into debt, and that'll just go into our emergency fund. We also still need to work on opening up our Roth, or my husband's Roth, and the goal is to max that out for the year, which is at $6,000. We really want to get our credit scores above 800. We're trying to build up our credit score so that when we apply for our mortgage in the next, I want to say next year or 2 years, I want to make sure that our credit score is as high as it can be. And then I want my income this year to be at $6,000. I don't know how I came up with that amount. I don't know. So $6,000, that's the goal. And then I want to continue to fund our savings buckets, aka sinking funds. I discovered this term, or this phrase, savings buckets, recently, and I kind of like it better than sinking funds. And moving on to the medium term goals. Goal is to increase our emergency fund again at $15,000. And I made a note here that that would be us being as a homeowner, because I'm sure once we move into a home, there's going to be way more expenses than living in an apartment. And I want to earn a full-time income. This is me kind of dreaming big. This is me wanting to earn an income staying at home still, so that I could still be with the kiddos, and I'll still be the ones in charge of picking up, dropping off to school, and all that stuff. And the goal is to earn $80,000. We'll see how that goes. I also wrote on here to save a down payment for our house, replace my car with either a truck or SUV, and I just put $40,000 because I think that was the price that I last saw on a certified used or a new car. I don't know. So that's what we have on there. And start funding our boys savings account, and then continue to fund our travel fund, and continue to max out the Roth IRA. And then here I just completely didn't put any amounts because I found myself really thinking too much about this. These are the focus goals though, is to continue to max out the Roth, increase emergency fund to $25,000, make sure to increase our boys savings accounts and annual like sinking funds, savings buckets, and to increase my, I really dreamed big on this one, to hit $100,000 within 10 to 15 years, me earning that income. It can happen. I mean, you never know. So, I mean, doesn't hurt to dream big, right? So we'll see how that one goes. So on this side over here, it's the membership and subscription worksheet. We don't really have too much. We have our AAA membership. This, I think I just continued with it because I used to work for the company and it was for free for us. So we just decided to keep it because we do use it mainly for DMV purposes. And then, and roadside assistance, of course. And then one of our vehicles renewals, and my car renewal, our Sam's Club renewal, and Amazon Prime. So these are all yearly. And then the only thing that's really on a monthly basis that's a subscription, but we kind of treat it as a utility, it's our Disney Plus. And then I had just recently canceled the ABC Mouse because my son was just not feeling it anymore. So that is our membership and subscription reminder worksheet. And moving on to the yearly savings tracker, these are our savings buckets. So things that we're saving for that we know it's going to happen in the future. So goal number 1 is to save for our Hawaii trip. And then the goal for that is to save a total of $3,760 by September. Every month that'll come out to $150. And to be honest, with a lot of these, yeah, I put a monthly amount on them, but depending on our paycheck, we might put more, we might put less, we might skip it. But I do want to make sure that I'm tracking it so that I don't find myself needing to fund something for $500 in 1 month. That would be crazy because these are already pretty high in my opinion to be funding in there, like $150. It's kind of high. So for Christmas fund, the goal is $1,000 by November because we do start saving for Christmas in November. Medical and dental, this one I don't really have a set goal. I did put $1,500 by December, but even after that, we plan on just continuing to fund this amount or fund this savings because I know my son will probably be needing braces, and we just never know with my family's history with going into the emergency room or just medical emergencies and stuff. I just want to be prepared so that we don't take it out of our own emergency fund. So I'm trying my best to kind of build this up so that we don't have to really touch our emergency fund unless something really, really big were to happen, like lose a paycheck. So that's kind of the idea behind this one, the medical and dental. And then for my husband's personal allowance, I've talked about this also before, that whenever all of his unused allowance is going to be going into this, so there's not really a goal date, just adding leftover from his allowance. And for my allowance, I do plan to save $300 by October, and that's specifically for passion planners and the budget by Paycheck workbook, and also a giveaway. So I might increase it if I need to, but so far right now it's looking at $300. And then our vehicle maintenance fund, I don't really have a goal for it, but we do want to make sure we're continuously putting money in it because we have 2 cars. One of them is like 14 years old and our other car is 6 years old, and we just want to make sure we are taking care of them and keeping up with the maintenance so that we don't need to get another car. And then goal number 7 is to save up for school. I am not sure if my son will be going to school physically next fall, but the goal is to save $200 for both my kiddos, and that's for supplies, clothes, lunch stuff if they need it. Mostly supplies at home. I think that's what I did last summer. Was I spent quite a bit. I think I spent just about $200, a little bit under, on like storage systems and kind of recreating my own, or creating my own at-home daycare slash preschool. So we'll see how that goes. So fun and events. This one as well is kind of more ongoing. There's no really end goal for this, so just to continue to fund it because we have a big family, and I just want to make sure we have the funds to cover all that fun stuff that we don't want to miss out on. Moving on, so the yearly savings tracker, it's pretty much the savings that's listed on here, and this one is all the way across. I think in the full size version you just get, it's on one side, but for this one it's goal number 1, 2, 3, 4, and again goal 1, 2, 3, 4 because it has January here to June and then July to December. I didn't use this the last time. I think this was in the old budget by Paycheck workbook, but this year I'm going to try my best to keep up with it because I'll be able to track when I spend from a sinking fund. So for example, in February, for sure this month, we did spend money on a smog check, and we did use we did tap into, wait, that's not my vehicle fund. What am I doing? That's medical and dental. Let me move on to the other side. So here you go. It makes more sense here. So with vehicles, for example, we had $350 to begin with, and we did spend $38 to do the smog check for one of our cars. So that's what we're going to be doing, is just tracking our expenses and what we add on here. And we also paid for a DMV registration renewal as well, so we're going to be minusing that here as well, just so we kind of have an updated total on our sinking funds. I also have it on my bank account and on cash envelopes as well, because 3 of our sinking funds are in cash envelopes. So that's how they're being tracked. And then another worksheet that has to do with the savings trackers is this guy right here. I love visual trackers, so I love coloring these in. So these are basically all those 8 goals in here. And then I did make a note on here that certain categories are ongoing. So I just kind of made up some numbers on there, just so I can track and see how much we have in those savings. So yeah, that's how this one is looking. And then the ones that I'm kind of excited to track as I go is this yearly spending overview, because I really want to do this for 2020, but I'm going to have to look at all of the months, which shouldn't be as hard, because if I just look at the end of the month worksheets, it should all be done. I just have to plug it in here. Thankfully, I did do all the end of the month worksheets so that it'll be easy for me to write it all in here. So what is on here is the income totals, January to December, of course, expense category, and of course I did highlight my categories on here, total expenses, and then the balance, which is usually I will write down a balance that we carry over to the next month. So basically whatever is on here is in the end of the month worksheets that I do when I close out the budget. So I'm going to make it a habit to have this out when I am closing out for the month. That way I can just fill it out as I go and not have to do it at the end of the year. I also decided to, for the months that have extremely high income, $11,000 for us, that's a lot. I wrote a little post-it note about where that income came from. So leftover from December, Christmas gifts, stimulus payment went through, thank God. And then a hotel travel refund that we got since we had to cancel a trip. My mother-in-law gave my husband $50 for picking up something for her at Costco. And then I got paid my first YouTube paycheck, or my first 2 YouTube paychecks on here, and then we got a refund from Target, and then my husband's 2 paychecks, which is usually what we'll have every month, plus whatever we have left over from the previous month. And then for the yearly balance overview, for this one, you have a savings balance, a debt balance, retirement balance, and a net worth on here. And since we have just one more debt to go, that's of course what I put on here. We just have my federal loan that's left. And so how I set this up, or how it said to set it up in the beginning in the instructions, because this one kind of confused me a little bit, so I did have to refer back to it. So I put my my starting balance here with my debt. So in January 4th, I made sure to write down the date. We had a balance of $13,014, and currently right now I believe we are at $11,810. I did write that on there. Yeah. So I don't know why I'm guessing it's up here. So our debt balance right now, or in January, was $11,810. We did just make a $500 payment, and I'm debating if we're going to make another one, but the numbers that are going to go on here are going to be the numbers that are in the end of the month worksheets, or the debt payment planner thing, debt payment plan that's in the monthlies. So it looks like this. So the debt payment plan. So as long as I fill everything out on here, it pretty much gets transferred over on here. So that should be easy. And I'm kind of looking forward to kind of just coloring this in and finally getting to zero. Hopefully before July, but we'll see. And then as for the savings, right now there is $5,000 in our savings, emergency savings. And the goal is to get at $7,500. I kind of imagine that it'll stay at $5,000 until July, and that's when we'll start increasing our savings. So once we're done with this, we're going to go ahead and work on this. So that's kind of the goal for right now. And then I love that there's a net worth tracker, because I know these can fluctuate for us, but I'm pretty sure once we're done with this, it's going to, of course, increase. And then retirement balance, we don't have it on there. I honestly don't really check our 401k and stuff, so I probably should, so that we're always aware of that. And I think there's one more worksheet. So this is the bill tracker, and basically it's just all your bills, fixed bills for the month. So these are all of our fixed expenses. The only one that's gonna go, and there's one more sheet left, the bill tracker. Some of these are not on auto pay. Most of them are. I know when these are due, the ones that don't have auto pay. Cell phone will be on auto pay soon, and then we'll get a $20 credit each month. And then we still need to put our internet on one of my cards, or one of my husband's credit cards. And yeah, so, and I do have one on here that's on my credit card, just so, like I said before, we are trying to work on our credit scores. So that is all of our bills. And let me tell you, when we had all of our debt, this probably would have been filled down to here. So it's nice to just see this little chunk over here. So yeah, that is pretty much it. The back over here, I thought it was going to be kind of like a medical expense tracker, not just a bill. I might turn it into a medical tracker just to track how many times someone in my family goes into the hospital unexpectedly and stuff, aside from just our well checks. So yeah, I might maybe turn this into one of those. So anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. Let me know in the comments below what your guys' goals are for the year, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Bye.